It's the Unhappy Hour.
Broadcasting to you live from the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, California, Los Angeles, to be specific. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Unhappy Hour. And Lord Almighty, seriously, you have got to be effing kidding me. Yes, that was an ambulance siren, and yes, that is to comment upon the fact that Kevin Love of the Cleveland Cavaliers is not playing likely this season. That he's pretty much done. Torn labrum, that's happened to me. You don't just bounce back from that. That's a many month ordeal. Kelly Olynyk, absolute punk. Yes, Bush League move. We're going to bring an NBA scout, former NBA scout, current NBA consultant, Zak Baris, to talk about it. Do us a favor, though. Subscribe, youtube.com/thenewamericanmedia, and check out our homepage at thenewamericanmedia.com. And on the right side, it's the TNAM radio button. That's where you click play to listen live, and we tweet out and leave Facebook messages when we're going live. And that's on Twitter, at American_media_. And you can do a search on Facebook for The New American Media with spaces in between and like the page, or just click them right off our homepage, thenewamericanmedia.com. So let's get Zach into the show and talk about this injury to the Cavs and what it means to their title hopes.
Hey, Brian, how you doing?
Well, how am I? I'm doing better than Kevin Love's doing. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Yeah. Kelly Olynyk, man. I just kind of led the show like, you've got to be effing kidding me. Like, only Cleveland. You know, it's our theme this year for the Cavs is all in. And we're all in on this year, and now one of our big three is down. Let's walk through the Boston series and the melee that we saw a couple days ago with the Cavs and J.R. Smith and Kendrick Perkins and Kelly Olynyk, Kevin Love. It's just a mess.
Total mess. But it is what it is. And like I said, show the Cavs they were in unity. They're a team. You saw them stick up for Kevin Love. They weren't, basically they said, we're not going to stand here. We're not going to take your shit anymore in Boston. The Cavaliers were beating them anyway. Boston couldn't deal with it. Boston's always put up tough teams. If you look back, when they beat the Cavs, they had guys like Perkins, guys like Pierce and Garnett. They weren't going to put up with it then. They weren't going to put up with it now. That's their mindset. That's always been their mentality. So, they weren't going to change that. Even though it's a totally different group of guys who are there, I don't think anybody's still from the same roster who was there previously. On those teams, I don't think there's anyone there. Because Gerald Walsh is the oldest player on the team at 32.
Yeah, it's weird to think about all the turnover that you've had. It's the entire team,
So
from Brad Stevens to Rivers.
From Doc Rivers to Brad Stevens, exactly. So, here's what here's what happened. Boston, obviously they were sore, they were losing, and they were trying to fight the Cavs every step of the way. They got some cheap shots in there. I'll tell you, I haven't seen 6 jump balls all season from the Cavaliers, let alone 6 in 2 games. Which I thought was ridiculous. The amount of jump balls in that series is insane. I think the referee was terrible. I think the officiating was just terrible.
And that's the type of thing where over 4 games it builds up. Hold on, how many of the players is it? And let me show my ignorance here. Is it the same refereeing crew for every game of the series? Or
I believe it was. Yeah.
Because I actually don't know the answer to that. It would make more sense.
Well, I think Tony Brothers was there every game. So, but the officiating was just horrible. They were horrendous. They were letting stuff happen. They're the ones. You have to blame the officiating too for letting it escalate to the point where it got to. And that was what was so frustrating about the situation, because if they would have stopped it earlier, started throwing out technicals earlier in games and other games, we wouldn't have seen this. And this is the problem. You let Olynyk rip. Don't forget, Kelly Olynyk can play innocent all he wants, but don't forget Hassan Whiteside elbowed the guy in his freaking head earlier this year and almost beat the living crap out of him. Excuse my language once again. Literally almost beat the living crap out of him and wound up getting a multi-game suspension out of it. Kelly Olynyk's not the innocent kid you think he is. He's obviously doing something to piss these guys off every time and get in their heads. He is. Just, if you have a chance, you go back and watch the Hassan Whiteside play on Kelly Olynyk. Hassan Whiteside literally almost cut his head off.
And
it wasn't for no good reason. He wasn't doing it just for the hell of it. You don't take action like that if there's no reason.
Do you remember, was Whiteside asked about it? What happened?
I don't recall if he responded. I think he said he took a cheap shot or something, but it was clearly, that's Olynyk's game. He has guys take their frustrations out of him, and it's not because he looks like Bruce Jenner.
He does. All right, I need a meme.
I really enjoyed that interview last week. I don't mean to rip on Bruce. I was very courageous what he did. I'm just saying, all over the years with the long hair and everything, it just reminded me of watching the Cavs last week in person, and meeting Kelly multiple times before. He really does.
Interesting.
Kelly's going through his transition. It's tough.
Yeah, Kelly's going through his transition. Let's see. Kelly Olynyk forgives Hassan Whiteside, which is an interesting way to put it, but this is Celtics
go
notes.
watch the highlight yourself on YouTube. There's a reason nobody takes out that kind of frustration in front of you with no reason. It just doesn't happen.
I'm gonna look it up right now, which makes for great radio because you're gonna listen to me watching something.
Yeah. So I was gonna say we can keep talking while you're looking it up, but getting to the point is that team. Jake Crowder was taking his shots the entire series. So what happens when you get down and you're losing. You want to take your shots. You want to get your punches in. It happens. You take your cheap shots. And sitting there bashing J.R. Smith in the back and the neck. It was all serious doing it to LeBron. Everybody on Twitter sitting there going, okay, they're going to, call for Perkins, bring in the enforcer. I'm like, David Blatt's not actually going to do it. I'm like, we haven't seen it this series. There's no way he's going to bring in Perkins to lay out Jay Crowder or Kelly Olynyk. It's just not going to happen. What do you know? Comes in the next series, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I go, Perkins still isn't going to do anything. I go, there's no way this is going to happen. As much as I want to see it, it's not going to happen. What do you know? 5 seconds later, elbows into the face. And Jay Crowder's not a guy I would mess with, especially not Kendrick Perkins. And Kendrick took him out, and that escalated everything to a point where the refs, again, should have taken action there. Didn't. They called a flagrant 1. That should have, got upgraded to a flagrant 2. I'm shocked it wasn't a flagrant 2 on the court. I was shocked.
Yeah, watching it the first time when it moved really fast, that's one thing. Oh man,
He jabbed him in the face. They went and reviewed it.
Right to that.
In the J.R. Smith, and honestly, the J.R. Smith one.
Hold on. Before we get to J.R. Smith, I'm watching this thing, the Hassan Whiteside. Man, that was a non-basketball play. that was a middle linebacker blowing up a running back or quarterback as he's running out of bounds kind of hit. That was incredible. But yeah, when I watched the Kendrick Perkins foul, and yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Everybody's calling for Perkins. Put me in, coach. I'm ready to foul. Yeah, he put him in, but I don't know. He went to the throat, and then as they started jawing at each other, it looked like he pointed. From one angle, it looks like he hits him in the face. From the other, it looks like he's pointing.
Way worse than what J.R. Smith. Way worse.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm being serious.
No, I know what you're saying. I could make a case that someone has hit my neck and my back and my shoulder about 7 times in the past 2 seconds, and I'm pissed and I swing my arm back to hurt your arms that are attacking me. Because he was getting hammered down there, and he didn't look, and he didn't aim.
In the face. That's what I'm getting at. I didn't think the J.R. Smith thing was that bad. I really didn't.
But he has a history. He has a history with the elbow with the Knicks.
It's all based on his history. It wasn't based on what he did at that moment. Because if it was LeBron James who would have swung his arm like that, it would have been a flagrant 1, and nothing would have happened. I'm telling you. It would never have been upgraded to a flagrant 2. It's just how it would be. Because the refs would have looked at it and go, oh, never mind. Jay Crowder was shoving him in the back. It's because of J.R. Smith's history. And he's been suspended 27 games in his career. Why they did it? It just is what it is. The guy's a repeat offender. It's like the same thing. Josh Gordon has a drink. He's out for the entire year. Someone else does it. They're putting a program if they do something. You get a DUI. The guy just had a drink. But you're in a program for a reason. You're a repeat offender. There's a reason why your actions are taken more seriously because odds are you're going to do it again.
Yeah, so, and that's what he was battling there was that. And seriously, hasn't Kendrick Perkins ever given somebody a hard pick before? He didn't need to go to the neck. He could have blasted into his body and knocked him on the ground and got way more of an effect for way less of a hassle.
it is what it is, and like I said,
Yeah.
I'll take it. They won the series 4-0. And
But did you?
I think
The
here's the thing: this is the first time all season where you're sitting there saying, "Okay, this is a team. They care about Kevin Love. They care about LeBron. These guys care about each other." It's something you want to see all along from this team is unity. And I think it was a great coaching move by Blatt to throw in Perkins there to say, "Listen, we've got our guys back. We're not going to put up with this crap. You want to take it? We're going to punch you one harder. It's fine."
And what does that, because you started talking about it before, and I just want to expand on it, make sure that we really understand what we're saying here. How much does that prove to you when you see the team going out there and fighting back? It is retaliation. That it's the fastball after you hit my player.
LeBron was early in the season. I mean, look at the guy was just gassed. Even he didn't have anymore. He said, I can't do this anymore. Is basically what he said. And he took 2 weeks off. He's an entirely different player now. They added these guys. They seem to have a click, and they seem to be united as one. And, like I said, for all the crap Kevin Love's taken all year about all this stuff, his teammates had his back. And it was nice to see that. And I think Brad Stevens knew for Kelly Olynyk's sake that the Cavaliers were going to do something and why he didn't insert him into the game until much later. There's a reason he was pulled at that current moment, because he was going to take a cheap shot to the head. It was going to happen at one point in that game. Instead, they took it out on Jay Crowder because they had a better opportunity. And Jay Crowder was pissing everyone off all series, too. It just is what it is, and that's what happened. And I'm sure if they had the chance, they would have taken out Kelly Olynyk. If timing-wise it would have worked itself out, and he wouldn't have been pulled from the game right away. Because he was playing serious minutes, and all of a sudden he just disappeared.
Yeah, Jay Crowder really, he was targeted. He was targeted. That didn't go.
There's no doubt in my mind, but was it well-deserved? Yeah, it was. There are guys who make cheap shots, and they want all the sympathy. And like I said, I've been reading some articles written by the Boston media, and unbelievable what they're so biased. I'm not sitting here as a Cavs fan. I'm being objectionable. I'm telling you like it is. I'm saying J.R. Smith, he's a repeat offender, deserved to deserved the 1 to 2 games. He deserved the 2 games. I thought he deserved 1, but like I said, he's a repeat offender. Perkins probably deserved to be suspended too, but he didn't, which I was kind of surprised. It was clearly a flagrant 2. Then Olynyk, that 1-game suspension in next November is a joke. It should have probably been 5 to 10 games.
At least 5, probably
shot.
10. And I have heard everybody, Kenny Smith and Shaq and everybody you're seeing in national media, Colin Cowherd, and I think I remember him saying that. Maybe it was Stephen A. Smith. Who cares? I'm hearing more people just saying, it happens. It wasn't that cheap shot. It wasn't that big of a cheap shot.
All I can tell you is next year, if I'm Olynyk, I'm not looking forward to facing the Cavs 3 to 4 times next year because he's going to get taken out. Trust me, don't forget that kind of stuff. Especially if the Cavaliers, for some reason, if they don't win a championship here, trust me, they'll take it out of them. It happens. It happens. That stuff sticks with guys. And let's get on to the Cavaliers' victory first here. Like I said, Chicago has not been playing well. They look terrible against Milwaukee. Their defense is terrible. And by the way, and I can tell you right there, Chicago stands no chance right now with Thibodeau's rotation. There's a reason why I brought this on the show over a month ago that he's going to get fired. It just is what it is. Like I said, the front office has crashed them for years. I don't care who's a Bulls fan on this show. I used to be really positive about the Bulls organization. Thibodeau's ran his course in Chicago. His rotations aren't working. Keeping Joakim Noah in there at the end of a game is just, I don't understand it. I really don't. I'm sitting there questioning every move he makes now. His rotations are just awful. Gasol's defense, he's such a liability in the defensive unit. Yeah, the guy can rebound. Go in there and rewatch some film. He loses the defender. He loses the guy who's defending almost on every play.
And that's something really important to know is that this is giving Coach Blatt and Coach LeBron James, don't forget, he's got as much an input, if not more input, than the coach in how they attack here, because really more of this is going to fall on LeBron and Kyrie than all season long. They've kind of earned it, but now we're going to get a chance to really expose the weaknesses in the teams that we're playing. And
Exactly. Yeah, and it just gives you more time. And like I said, if for some reason Milwaukee's able to take this 7, I expect Chicago to win this series. I really do. But Milwaukee's able to take this to 7, Chicago's going to be tired. I mean, Derrick Rose he's not a veteran who can play 40 minutes every night. Thibodeau might have him doing it, but doesn't mean he's going to hold up. And, like we said, after he's back and he puts up 33 points, they've been awful the last 2 games. It's been terrible. Jimmy Butler's been terrible. As a team, they just look horrible. They don't look right. And like I said, I'm not really worried about it. Like I said, I had a loyalty to one organization. I'm not even going to get into it. But like I said,
I'll let you steer that part of it. Yeah,
I'm not even going to sit here and get into it. But like I said, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to root for the Cavs this series. Do I still like the Bulls? Yes, I do. I do. I have no animosity towards the Bulls. I still enjoy watching the Bulls. I still like the Bulls. But getting to it, the Cavaliers are a far superior basketball team than the Chicago Bulls. It's not even close. Like I said, Thibodeau did a great job there, but those guys are exhausted come playoff time. And don't forget, LeBron's never lost to the Bulls in 3 series. He's never lost I don't think he's ever lost more than a game with them in the playoffs. He's won every series in 5 against them. Where he's at Cleveland, and then the 2 in Miami, he won in 5. I mean, I was there I was there 2 years ago when, Chicago took game 1, and then Miami won the next 4. And it was like that again, was it LeBron's first year in Miami in the conference finals, when Chicago won over 60 games, Miami was still a team gelling. And don't forget, that's when Chicago was at its best. You had Derrick Rose. Boozer was still good. Rose won the MVP. Joakim Noah was still a star at that point. He wasn't at the point where he had bad knees. It was a really good basketball team that won over 60 games and lost in 5. And also, I'm going to say this like it is too. For anyone panicking about Kevin Love, LeBron James won the conference finals without Chris Bosh just a couple of years ago. Remember that. Beat the Pacers.
But is Kevin Love done for the season? That's where we're at with the torn labrum.
Here's the thing. Honestly, let's say he's done for the round against the Bulls. Okay. Yeah, it's gonna hurt. But like I said, I still see the Cavaliers winning the series in 5 or 6. I really do. I would say more 6 because of J.R. Smith being out too. But it depends on how they work the rotation. I really like to see how they work.
Yeah, because I was the thing I was wondering about is how much is Tristan Thompson going to step up? How much are Shumpert going to step up?
Thompson start at the 4, or what do you do is you move LeBron up to the 4, and you start Shumpert at the 3, and you play more of a smaller lineup up with Mozgov in there. Or you're going to see a lot of rotations during the playoffs where you see Tristan, LeBron, Shumpert, Smith, and Irving. You're going to see a lot of those rotations, I have a feeling.
When we get to
Smith, though. You're going to see a lot of small, quick rotations to go and play the Bulls in a game they're not used to, and that's when you're beating with athleticism on the offensive end.
Yeah,
I just don't think I don't think Chicago can keep up with that lineup. And when the Cavs play small with LeBron at the 4, I think they can absolutely dominate them.
But once again, I just want to make this clear to everybody. If the Ohio State Buckeyes can win a title but by beating, Michigan State, then Wisconsin in the Big Ten championship game, and then the Oregon Ducks, and then Alabama, then Oregon.
Alabama, then Oregon.
Yeah, with Cardale Jones at quarterback after JT Barrett goes down against Michigan.
Yeah, they had Barrett against Michigan State, but I'm saying that, like you said, Braxton Miller was gone. The Buckeyes year was done. They lost to Virginia Tech in opening week. Or the second week of the season. You lost to Virginia Tech. The season's over. Okay, what do you do? You start slowly climbing back up the polls. You blow out Michigan State on national TV, who's a top 10 team. Suddenly you're right back in there, and you blow away Wisconsin in the Big Ten title game. You're right back in there. Oh, and you did it with your third-string quarterback. Like I said, anything's possible. And, I will say this. The Cavaliers finished off that game not particularly strong, but, for all that they went through, they still have the 2 best players on the court. I'm going to sit here and reiterate this all along because I kept saying it the other day. Give me 2 players on the Bulls that are better than James and Irving. You can't. If you say Derrick Rose or you say Jimmy Butler or you say Pau Gasol, you're going to get punched. They're not. Derrick Rose 3-4 years ago was better than Kyrie Irving is now. Derrick Rose isn't the Derrick Rose of 4 years ago.
Yeah, hey, we could say the same thing about Dwayne Wade. That's not the same player.
That's the thing. Yeah, you can talk about and Dwayne Wade is not better than Kyrie Irving now. He's not. It just is what it is. Facts are facts.
Right.
At one point, Derrick Rose is better than Kyrie Irving is now. There's no doubt about that. But he's not there anymore.
Yeah,
he's not the Derrick Rose. He's not the Derrick Rose of old. He's not the Derrick Rose from 4 or 5 years ago. He just isn't.
No, somewhere the injuries changed the player, and somewhere Kyrie won a world title and got an all-star game, and a 3-point championship. It's somewhere along the way those trajectories have crossed, and that was a while ago.
Bulls fans can interpret that however they want, and I'm not saying that as a Clevelander or as a Cavs fan. Like I said, where I stand on this.
Yeah, that's father time.
I'm not trying to be objective here. I'm just saying.
Hey, you know what? Tim Duncan is a different Tim Duncan today than 5 years ago. That's just it is what it is.
I don't know. He seems to me to be the same Tim Duncan.
All right, you know
what?
Not
Tim Duncan of 10 years ago. Tim Duncan of 10 years ago.
Okay, thank you. I almost said 10, but for some reason, how old is he? 39 now?
something like that, yeah, I mean, but he's still incredible. He's still a great player. But
I wonder how long LeBron James can play. How long do you think he can play? Because he's changed his game over the years.
I don't think he's changed his game. I mean, he can do just about anything. That's the thing. He can be an elite passer at times. He can still shoot. I mean, he's such a smart basketball player. He has such a high basketball IQ. It will always make him a dangerous player. Like Derrick Rose's signature player is his drive to the hoop. He's not a jump shooter. You know, and I can witness a couple. 2 years ago when he was coming back from his injury, I was sitting there going, "Wow, is he going to be good again?" He's trading every shot in practice. Is he going to be incredible? He's really worked on his jump shot. Nope. It's there some nights, very rarely though. It just is what it is. He just hasn't really recovered. He doesn't have that step he had. And it's still not that step he used to. It's there 1 out of every 5-6 games, and maybe even 10.
Well, you see it with running backs in the NFL all the time. When you lose that step, you're just not the same.
And the remaining teams in the East, Washington's good. Like I still say, the Cavaliers, as they are right now, can still beat Washington. Okay, let's go and take on the Nets. Okay, like I said, the Cavaliers, as they are right now, would still beat the Nets in 4. And if the Cavaliers were facing the Hawks with the way the Hawks have been playing, they would beat the Hawks in 4.
So it really comes down to this.
I'm not saying they're going to beat the Hawks in 4, but I'm saying they could. It would not surprise me.
Well, because the Hawks are not playing the same way they did the first third of the year.
The Hawks have been playing under 500 since they were 53-14 or 54-13, whatever they were at that point in the season. I think they were 53-14. They've been playing under 500 basketball since that point. They have not been good. It just is what it is. I mean, I guess this had to be a little expected from the Hawks. You know, because like I said, the thing is they don't. You know, this is what I try to reiterate. Come playoff time, if you don't have that guy that can put up 30 on a consistent basis in the playoffs, you're not going to win. Which is why you look at San Antonio. They're so resilient every year in the playoffs. Because go look at the box score every night. There's a different guy putting up his 30 points, whether it's Kawhi Leonard, whether it's Tim Duncan, Ginobili, Parker, Danny Green, Patty Mills. You have 7 guys on that roster that can put it in the hoop any night. You know, and they play such good team basketball. They're so team-oriented. Look at Golden State. You've got Curry. You've got Thompson. The defensive end, you've got Draymond Green. You've got a great bench of Maurice Spate. You've got Andre Iguodala. You've got a really, really good team in Golden State, which is why Golden State can come on the West. You have these teams in the Western Conference that have so much ammo and they can hit you from all different angles, with scores, which is why there's so much parity in the Western Conference. You really don't know who's coming out.
Yeah,
in the East, you've got, like I said, I think the Wizards are the most dangerous team left besides the Cavaliers.
The Wizards, huh? Well, they're peaking at the right time.
Randy Whitman's done well in the playoffs. I don't think he's a good coach, but he's done well in the playoffs. I'll give him that.
Well, that's the point. When you're peaking at the right time, it's the trajectory. Are they looking like they're going to be tougher to play or easier to play? And you see the Cavs.
I think the Cavaliers will be fine either way, but I don't see Atlanta getting past Washington. Granted, if Atlanta even makes it.
Yeah, they were almost counting out. What do you think of the Nets? 2-2 now.
I mean, I hope the Nets win it.
So maybe the Hawks are more dangerous. Maybe that's what it is. Like they've hit a bad slump. They're not a good team right now. But if they were to find that preseason form, they haven't had the major injuries necessarily. But I mean that one I pretty much had that written off as that was going to be a cakewalk, and I'm really surprised. You see the Bulls lose in 2 games, the Nets and Hawks both lose in 2 games. The Cavs, even though they got a big injury with Kevin Love, tell you what, they're the only team in the East that swept, and that makes a difference. I mean, those Milwaukee Bucks were a 2 overtime game away from being up 3-2 to close it out at home. I mean, the East is looking a lot easier, but the Wizards are peaking at the right time.
I'm still not too worried. I mean, the Wizards are playing well, but like I said, the Cavaliers will have 2 of the 3 best players left in the entire Eastern Conference. And like I said, I would go, I think the 3 best players left are LeBron James, Kyrie Irving, and John Wall.
In the East?
Yes. And so, that's what I mean, in the East, yeah. And that's what I'm saying. That's why it just doesn't worry me to this point. Be worried. If the Cavaliers are sitting down there down 3-0 or 3-1, I'm going to be very, very worried. But I just don't see it getting to that point. Chicago just hasn't been playing good basketball, and they look exhausted.
And they've got to be exhausted. It takes a toll after a long season. There's no doubt about it.
Noah's got bad knees. I mean, that's what happens when you consistently play 40 minutes a night for 4 or 5 years. You're not going to have knees anymore, especially when you're 7 feet tall.
Yeah, it's a basic mathematical computation to make there.
There's no doubt too that there's friction between Gar Forman and Gar Forman, whether it's Paxson, Jay Hillock. You look at that front office. There's definitely friction between the three of those guys and Tom Thibodeau. It just is what it is.
Yeah, you could look at some of these emerging storylines as teams are starting now to get pushed to the brink of elimination in the East, but you could look out at the West. We talked about the 7 deadly players on the Spurs, but that's kind of the exact opposite, the very model of long-term stability with Coach Popovich. And this is an interesting series. It's been up and down. It kind of looked like the Spurs were just going to smoke L.A., and I don't know if it's Doc Rivers or the maturity of Blake or Chris Paul, but this is a really interesting series here, Spurs and Clippers. What do you make of it?
I mean, yeah, it's a great series. I'd like to see the Clippers win. So I think it'd be cool.
And wouldn't the Spurs be tougher for the Cavs in the title game?
Wouldn't the Spurs be rooting for the Cavs?
Yeah, because we're just trying to figure out which teams would match up the toughest for the Cavs. I think you and I talked about that, about the Spurs
Which team would match up tougher? It changes the whole dynamics now without Kevin Love. I think it'd be very hard to win the title for the Cavaliers now. I'm not saying it's not possible, but I think it becomes much, much tougher. I think Golden State, which the Cavaliers could have handled before, now the problem is the offset of scoring. I think it'd be very tough. I think it'd be incredibly tough to beat San Antonio. Memphis, I still think they have the upper hand. I'd like to see how the next round goes against Chicago before we even start talking about the championship, let alone the Eastern Conference Finals. Because let's say they manhandle Chicago. For the offset chance Chicago beats them, I don't think it's going to happen. Even most of the Bulls media is starting to come around to that point where they don't think Chicago's that good.
Because it's been a tough series.
And the Chicago media, they're a bunch of homers. We know the Cleveland media, they're not sticking there they're not a bunch of homers. They're the first ones to write off the Browns every year, right off the Cavs. Take them when they're, sink the ship when they're going down. They're saying, you go into ESPN and you listen to all the, Nick Friedel come up. You listen to all these guys, you listen to all the Chicago reporters, whether it's Sam Smith. It's always, Chicago's, they're going to win the championship this year. Look at this roster on paper. We looked on paper at the beginning of the Cavs season, and look how that turned out. They were 19-20 on paper.
Yeah, on paper.
That's what happened.
And
on
then the
paper,
best after that.
When you're sitting there going, oh my God, they've got 4 scoring options. How are you going to stop them? Deion Waiters is the 4th option. Well, Deion Waiters sucks. He was a terrible 4th option. You couldn't get it done with just 3 players and no bench.
So it's probably the most talented team that we've had in the LeBron James era, even without Kevin Love. We can just agree on.
Yeah, because like I said, it's got Kyrie. It's got Kyrie and LeBron. You've got JR. You've got Shumpert. You've got some great role players. Now, it'd be great. Just imagine this team healthy if they had Bergeron and Love. They'd be unbeatable. They'd be unbeatable if they had a healthy Bergeron with Love.
Oh, man. Wouldn't it be great to see Verjao just walk on the court? I know everybody's saying, like, what if? And they're like, no. It's impossible for him to come back. And they've kind of been saying that about Kevin Love. The news kind of gets worse and worse as it goes on here. I don't know. I've heard of people playing with partially torn labrums and just, injected and just trying to relieve the pain. But, I don't even know how effective he could be with one hand out there, even though it is a shooting hand. What do you think? Do you think you could foresee Kevin Love coming back injured where the doc says, what are you going to do, tear it? It's already torn. You got to have surgery in the offseason.
The thing is, I don't know. It's highly unlikely. You'd rather – here's the thing. You don't want teams anticipating that, when you're coming up to anticipating Kevin Love's going to play. You want them to prepare without him because if he does come back –
no answer for him.
Okay. You're sitting there going, okay, now we really have to adjust again. That's why I think it makes a huge difference. If I'm Griffin, I don't want to give it away and say, listen, he's going to come back because he might not. But there's the offset chance he will. You don't want to convince these guys that they're going to be playing with him when they're not. Might as well just say he's going to be out And then if he does come back, it's just an added bonus.
Yeah, I mean, I probably would have said we're learning as much as possible. I don't know. I don't even know if I would. I just would have said we're still evaluating. I don't think I would have said, why tell anybody anything?
He said most likely he's out for the split. I mean, I think he gave an honest assessment.
Yeah,
but for some reason, I mean, I think Kevin Love's going to opt in next year. I do.
If we re-sign him.
And like I said, I think he's likely to opt in and then search for his big deal in 2016, summer 16. Which doesn't mean it won't be with the Cavs. I'm not saying it won't be.
This injury makes things a lot more complicated.
It does complicate a lot of stuff. I mean, what if they go on to win a championship and Kevin Love doesn't play? I'm saying, it's possible. If it does happen, you still need Love. You still do. Either way.
Yeah.
It can be very tough to get through a full season with LeBron having to cringe and play 45 minutes a night.
Maybe LeBron can for 3 more series. Maybe it's possible.
I think we realized how valuable Kevin Love was to this basketball team when he went down.
And we saw him play the Bulls without him.
Definitely took Kevin Love for granted all year.
Yeah, until you have to think about what do you do without him? Everything changes about the way
people are going, he's a bust, he's a bust. And I was saying all along, he's not a bust. It's just what happens when you get stuck as being a third wheel.
The spacing is going to change. Maybe LeBron's going to post up more. Maybe it's going to change. Do you expect to see LeBron come out either as the guy that, if you were a betting man, maybe it would make sense to say, I expect LeBron to do a lot of passing and get his other teammates involved, the Sean Marion, the Iman Shumpert, try to get them going early. Or what I think he should do, therefore I'm hoping he does, is I hope he comes out, LeBron James does, in Game 1 against either the Bucks or the Bulls, and play a hero game, and just say, I want to put in 60 points tonight, and just go for it.
Yeah.
Either him or Kyrie, or it's like, hey, it's the LeBron and Kyrie show, you guys get the rebounds. That's it. That's how we're doing it. We're taking the shots. I would like to see him come out just absolutely bonkers, because I feel like he's been holding it back so much this season. Am I crazy there? What do you think?
I think we've seen LeBron. When he wants to take off, he will. And I tend to think that, he and Kyrie are both going to get involved really, really, really early on Monday night to just set the tone and get the crowd into the game. I think that's the biggest thing. You need the crowd to be loud. You need that home court advantage, especially when you're down 2 players.
And all it takes is an early foul or something, you kind of, you get it started. You get that rhythm going, and it's like, yeah, that's where you want to get to, is you want to get in the position where the other team's in the foul trouble all at the end of the quarter, so that, the defenses get a lot easier when they don't want to foul you. When they have 1 or 2 to give, you say fine, whatever. But when it comes down to free points at the end of the quarters, that's going to be really important, because LeBron and Kyrie can both be slashers, although we've definitely seen them with good outside range. Let's kind of move away from that and bounce back over to the West. What do you make of the Battle of Texas here? Rockets are up 3-1, 6-point lead at halftime.
In 5.
Okay, so this should probably be it then. Yeah, Mavericks are gone. What about the Warriors? What do you make of the Warriors Pelicans? What did we learn? And
that was game 3 was absolutely incredible in that series. I think don't ever take the Warriors for granted. Don't go and sit those guys on the bench even if you have a 20-point lead.
Yeah, it's one of those plays that'll make that highlight reel. The Sports Illustrated DVD relive the 2015 season. Like, that's one of those types of moments that would obviously be a highlight of a season if you can win a title. It almost kind of blurs into oblivion if you don't. But yeah, they have the talent. They got the heart. I don't know. I guess now with Kevin Love's injury and seeing a few more games in the West, who do you think's coming out? You said the Rockets. You said you hope the Clippers, but do you think the Clippers?
I don't know what to think. I mean, I think it's tough. I got to say San Antonio. I can't see San Antonio losing the first round as much as I'd like to see it.
Right.
I do like watching the Spurs, though. I do. I really do enjoy watching. They're fun to watch.
And fundamental. That's one of the things that is nice to watch. It's like, wow, crisp, correct passes. Like, they're coached well. You can tell these guys don't do too many things sloppy, and that is fun. But what about Grizz and Blazers then, as we kind of finish up on our Western Conference tour?
I mean, it's going to be, Memphis is going to have a tough road from here on in if Mike Conley doesn't come back soon.
What is the timetable for that? That's tough.
I said a couple of games, but like I said, I still don't see Portland coming away with this series. They had a resilient win last night, and they blew away Memphis in the fourth quarter at the end of the game. But like I said, I still fully see the Grizzlies coming away with this series.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna be fun. And when the Cavs' next game is what? It's Monday either way. Am I correct with that?
The Cavs game will be Monday night. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess being the number 2 seed, we're going to have this either way. We're definitely gonna start off at home. I don't know. So you're saying Cavs in 5? Wow, that's fine.
Now step into sensuous beauty with natural Moroccan argan oil. New Nair glides
where
away
is that?
no-touch cream.
Huh, that was... Are you trying to sell me skincare products, Zach? Are you doing that again? Keep telling you. Anyway, sorry about that. I think that was YouTube or something, or ESPN. Anyhow, where were we at? What were we saying?
You said the Cavs in 5. I said I'll take the Cavs in 6.
Cavs in 6. I could see that. All right. So,
what's your prediction?
Yeah, well, I mean, I could see him dropping 1 or 2. Could I see him sweeping? I mean, that's tough. Yeah, probably Cavs in 5. Cavs in 5. I hate even admitting...
Like I said, I think you're going to see a pissed-off Cavs team.
I think you're right, and I think that's the LeBron that we need this time of year.
And LeBron doesn't like Chicago, and Chicago doesn't like LeBron, and LeBron loves it.
And Joakim Noah, if you got annoyed by Kelly Olynyk, I'll tell you what, he's the new punching bag. This is going to be...
but the Cavaliers have already showed they'll bring in Kendrick Perkins if they have to, and if I'm Joakim, I don't want to take an elbow from Kendrick Perkins.
Yeah, I remember when we brought in Shaquille O'Neal. What was his nickname? Witness Protection Program, because they were, witness with LeBron James. But yeah, it's the Cavs team definitely stood up and said we're not putting up with your crap. And I don't think LeBron had much of a reason to turn his A game on against the Celtics. He played his game, which is fantastic, but I don't think he flipped the switch. I could definitely see him flipping the switch against Chicago. Because, like you said, whoever we meet in the Eastern Conference Finals, if we can get past this next round, hell, if the Bucks are the team, they earned it by beating Chicago, and which makes them tough. Or if Chicago comes out, it's like what they're capable of if they're not totally out of gas, which hopefully they will be. I'm looking forward to it. I'll say Cavs in 5. You say Cavs in 6.
By the way, real quick, speaking of the NFL draft, I heard the NFL send a letter from someone on Twitter. It says the NFL sent a letter to Fox, CBS, and NBC and tell the reporters not to tip their picks.
Oh. What is that? Wait, hold on. So, what? How did...
every pick is always tipped 5 minutes beforehand. It always seems like...
So they don't want him doing that?
Yeah, I kind of like that because it kind of ruins everything.
Huh. You know what else I saw? I also saw that the NFL got rid of its tax-exempt status. Did you catch that one?
Yeah, because now Roger Goodell can make $85 million a year and it won't be known.
Can you believe that? I just can't believe it was ever set up as a tax-exempt organization. Talk about criminal activity. That is shady, shady, shady. God almighty, is that shady. That's a for-profit business. Like, there's just a clear difference. We're seeing the same thing with the Clinton Foundation, trying to figure out what the difference is, but I guess I digress. But so do you expect Ray Farmer? I just did our Cleveland Browns draft special with Brandon Odell, but I want to get your thoughts on it as well while we're here. Do you expect to see Ray Farmer active?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I just don't know what they're going to do. Honestly, they're not giving their hand. I mean, will they probably wind up with Danny Shelton in the first round? Yeah. At 12? I mean, I really have no clue what they're going to do. I couldn't tell you.
Yep, we're going to find out if they actually give Johnny Manziel another chance. If Justin Gilbert has improved drastically from his freshman season with the Browns under the tutelage of Joe Hayden. I don't know. I'm looking forward to it, but I know that our guy, Ray Farmer, likes to trade back and accumulate picks for next year. So I think if there's a way he could acquire picks, and I just think it's a more fun way to play the first round when you have 2 picks. So, sometimes you can't get that top 5 player, but, sometimes you have a few more holes to fill, and if you have the right guys teed up at the right numbers, that's how you build a team for a decade. You got to draft the right way. Hey, any thoughts on, as we kind of head out the door here, on on Ray Lewis calling for peace in Baltimore with all of these riots?
I think it's hilarious because Ray Lewis himself, killed a guy or witnessed someone killing a guy, whatever it is.
He definitely avoided the charges. He was involved in a kill. Actually, let me, because we've all told these jokes, and there's nothing funny about the person that was killed, obviously, but oh geez, you type in Ray Lewis. Oh, there we go. Here, let me put murder. That'll change it a little bit. But as Browns fans, we definitely... Okay, 2000, the year 2000, victims stabbed during a brawl, prosecution's murder case collapses, murder and assault with a deadly weapon. Yeah, that was a wild... Oh, that was right when Ray Carruth killed that woman, too. Put her in the trunk or something. Horrible.
Yeah, he's in jail for life.
Yeah, he paid his dues, and this guy got away with it, Ray Lewis. So the meme is, stop committing violence in Baltimore, but if you get caught, hire a good lawyer or something like that. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it all plays out, who the Browns actually get. We'll see if there's any truth to this rumor that will not go away with Sam Bradford and the Eagles. I don't know if that's even something we would want to do with knees like that. He just cannot keep it on the court, kind of like we're talking with Derrick Rose. So, anyhow.
I don't know what they're going to do, but somehow they'll find a way to screw it up.
Zach, you got to stop it. You got to be positive, man. It's like I said. Listen, I need you to hear this again. If Cardale Jones can win a title for the Ohio State Buckeyes this year as a third-string quarterback, the Browns can actually have a knockout draft with future Pro Bowlers and Hall of Fame players, and the Cleveland Cavaliers can win the title. The odds definitely got a little longer for the Cavs with the Kevin Love injury, and we'll see what happens with the Browns. After all, they have new jerseys. There's no way they can suck now, right? We'll see. All right. Well, hey, Zach, I appreciate your time. Definitely keep tweeting us during the NBA playoffs when you have some stuff to add. We want to share that with people, and we want to make sure that they're following you on Twitter. You're at Z Baris. That's Z-B-A-R-I-S. B-A-R-I-S. Z Baris. All right? So thank you for joining us this evening on this random day. I appreciate it. And hopefully,
thank you, Brian.
And hopefully the Cavs will get this going without Kevin Love. You gave me a little bit of hope today.
We'll be just fine.
All right. Well, we're going to certainly tune in and find out. And I appreciate each and every one of you listening to this program. I want to make sure you check out thenewamericanmedia.com for our TNAM radio button link. That's where you click play to listen live. And when we go live, we'll send out a tweet and a Facebook message. So also on our homepage at thenewamericanmedia.com, click on Twitter. We're at American_media_. That's American_media_. And underneath that is also our Facebook feed, or you can do a search for The New American Media with spaces in between and then like the page. But almost most importantly, subscribe youtube.com/The New American Media and let those little advertisements play before the videos, because then it's like you throw a couple pennies into our wishing well and it helps. We just started that and it's already helping just a little bit. And hey, sometimes a little help is all you need. Cavs are going to need it. Iman Shumpert. I mean, geez, they got to fill in for J.R. Smith and Kevin Love. So it's going to be tricky, but hey, if you want anyone in your corner for it, why not have LeBron James, the best basketball player on the planet, and one of the most up-and-coming badasses in Kyrie Irving? That's a good anchor if you want to try to get something going in the right direction. So let's hope it all goes well. Kelly Olynyk, I shall never forgive you. Oh, no, I didn't stop. I was just pausing for dramatic effect. Kelly Olynyk, I shall never forgive you. All right, even though Maya Angelou talked about hate and that you shouldn't hate things because it's like a cancer, she tells David Chappelle in an episode of Iconoclast, "So, David, of course I was angry, of course I hated, but you can't hold on to anger and hate. It's like a cancer. all it does is harm the person holding on to it, but it does nothing to the object that you're upset with. You have to let that go. So fine, maybe with some more therapy, Kelly Olynyk, I can get over this, but I'll tell you what, that was the most Cleveland-y thing to have happen. I can't believe it happened again, except that as a Cleveland fan, you have to expect that everything will be bad. But I'm telling you, we're turning the corner. We are turning the corner on that. And that's why I appreciate you finding us here at the Unhappy Hour. I'm Brian Engelman signing out. I appreciate you, I love you, and peace.
You are listening to the New American Media.
And this is John B. Wells reminding you that not only is Brian Engelman a cool guy, and not only is the newamericanmedia.com a very cool platform, but here's a cool idea for you, too. Are you alone? Not really. Do you like dogs? Do you like cats? You do. Of course you do. Everybody does. One or the other, maybe even both. You know, there are a lot of dogs and cats that are at shelters right now, and if somebody doesn't take them home, they're going to wind up euthanized. That's a nice way of saying they're going to be killed, because there's simply not enough room. I guarantee it, the best dogs and the best cats, the best pets, come from shelters. There's something about dogs and cats, they know. They know where they are. You walk through one of them, and certainly at least one is going to look at you and go, I wish you'd take me home. I'm in hell. Please take me out of here. It'll be the best thing that you ever did for your soul. You'll feel good about it. And not only that, but you have a friend for life. Doesn't matter if you got money, you don't have money. Well, it doesn't make any difference to a dog or cat. All they need is the sound of your voice and maybe even the stroke of your hand, and they're fine. Maybe a little food every once in a while. The sweetest sound that those pets ever hear is your voice. Think it over and adopt a cat or a dog from a local shelter today. I'm telling you, you'll be glad you did.